Kaixo, egunon guztioi. Gaur kafe bat hartuko dugu RUTH BECKERMANN zuzendariarekin, berak bere pelikula Mutzenbacher Zabaltegi Tabakalerako sailean aurkezten du. Hola, buenos días a todas. Hoy nos tomamos un café con la directora RUTH BECKERMANN, que presenta su película Mutzenbacher en la sección Zabaltegi Tabakalera. And now I'm going to swap to English. And we've been talking a lot during this festival, you and me, and maybe I'm going to repeat some of the questions, but I would like you to talk to us about the beginning of this project and how did you came up with the idea?
Well, yeah, we talked. It's not easy to repeat oneself, but I try. Well, I read this book when I was a kid almost, and like many people at the time when there was no internet and was searching for information about sex, and somehow it stayed with me and came back when I couldn't make another film because everything was closed. So I said, let's do it now. And I started research, met historians to find out about the period when the book was written in 1906, same time as Freud's research about child sexuality was published. And after a long time of thinking, I came up with this concept, which I always try to have a reduced concept, reduce it as much as possible to find out what I want to focus on. So actually it's a casting, a film about a casting. I put out a casting call asking men, only men, between 16 and 99 years old to come to a certain location, a former factory, for a film about this book, the memories of Josephine Mutzenbacher, Viennese whore. And many applied. I think around 150 men applied and sent a photograph. So we invited around half of them in different age groups, to sit on this pink sofa and talk to me.
And I would like you to talk to us a little bit about your methodology when working, because yesterday you were telling us that you made a lot of research, and then there was a kind of, not improvisation, but you were like a little bit, you didn't really know what was going to happen when the guys came to the set. So yeah, I would like you to talk to us about the methodology you use.
Yeah, it was like kind of an experiment to have. I was sitting on the location, the casting location, and asked my assistant to bring in 1 man or 2 men or 3 men to sit on the couch. So I didn't see them before, just saw their photograph when they applied. And that was the challenge for me, to react spontaneously to them. And I like to work like that, to prepare a lot and then to improvise or just react without thinking much. So all of them, every man had to read a short text. And the texts out of this porn book served as a trigger also to make them talk about themselves, about sexuality, about women, about problems, whatever. And I was surprised that they liked it and did it and were quite open in what they said. And I found very soon I found out that the best was to have 2 men together on the couch, because then they could talk to each other easily, which was interesting.
And how was the editing process? Because maybe if you didn't really know how it was going to go on set, then the editing, I don't know if you, well, I do know because you explained it yesterday, but you filmed a lot or no, and how was the editing, and how did the editing process change the film or the idea you have about the film?
Well, in this, with this film, it was quite obvious that it couldn't have another form than, like, how do you say it in English, a suite? One man after the other, like a series, okay. A series of men, reading, talking, and so on. So I was quite sure that there is one man who reads in the beginning and in the end. So I was sure that I want this, the prologue and the epilogue by the same man. And for the rest, in the editing process, first of all, we chose the good moments, as you always do when you're editing. I mean, I work like that. Not to edit in detail, but to find the structure. So the structure is a series, and it took us a long time to play around with how to position the different men, because that was very important to keep up a certain suspense and to surprise the audience every time, most of the time, with a new face and a new idea. So this was, of course, right in the beginning I knew also who would be in the end. A man who actually came, sat down and said, you know, I read a little bit of this book in the online, and I thought I'm not going to do it because I have grandchildren, and if they see their grandpa saying dirty words, so I don't want to do it. But somehow he stayed, and he said, and there was this scene and that scene, and I started to read to him. And then he was very eager to read a scene, and he was very good, really got into it. So I knew from the beginning of the editing process that he would be the last one in the film.
And well, in the film we only see men, and this was an idea you have from the beginning, that you were going to film just men. I would like you to talk to us a little bit about why, and what did you learn during the process with them?
Well, the whole idea of the film was to find out more about how men think about sex or sexuality. And that's why I chose this porn book, and I chose only to work only with men. And that was one interest of mine, but the other one also was to as a woman, to portray men, many men in this case, and to reverse the power situation in a way, because there are so many films and paintings and books, wonderful books and paintings written by men about women, and not so many the other way around. So I think I was always interested in men because they are the other, and they are more enigmatic to me than women. So I took this opportunity to find out more, and I don't know if I know more now than I knew before, but it's so interesting when you have a very reduced concept like one couch, and how to observe in how many different ways a man can sit down, and in how many different ways someone can react to this text. So that's always interesting. to me. And I was surprised at how, as I said before, I think how frankly they talked. Yeah, that it's not true that men are so shy and they just talk with their male friends having a beer. They just talked to me. And that was interesting.
So, well, thank you very much. It was really nice to talk to you. And orain, pelikularen klip batekin utziko zaituztegu, y ahora os dejamos con unas imágenes de la película. Eskerrik asko.
Ehemaliges Erotiksofa.
Ist es eins?
Wahrscheinlich, also wer stellt sich das daheim hin?
Sie haben gleich die richtigen Assoziationen.
Vielleicht, ja. Mal schauen.
Ich glaube, es gibt kaum eine Frau, die heute herumläuft und sagt, ich habe einen Spaß auf einen Mann.
Er fasste mich bei der Hand und führte mich, und gleich darauf hielt ich seinen Schweif.
Ich spritz nicht, jetzt werde es herausziehen unangenehm. Jetzt darf ich auf einmal fügen, nicht wahr?
Jetzt wird es aber schwierig, mein Herr. 1, 2, 3.
Bananen, Zitronen, auf der Ecken steht der Bauer. Bananen, Zitronen.
Wer endlich wieder gestanden ist und immer geschwind wieder eingesteckt hat, bums, gleich ist er losgegangen. Und ich habe wieder die ganze Aufregung umsonst gehabt.
Dass eben gerade unsere Generation deswegen auch Probleme hat oder zugeknöpfter ist oder weil sich das eben ziemlich in den letzten Jahren zu so einem Performance-Act entwickelt hat.
Unter dem Motto, das darfst du nicht, das ist böse, das ist Pfui Schande, das ist Pfui, das ist grauslich, tu's nicht.
Was tut der Schwanz in der Futt? Alois antwortete so ruhig und ernst wie immer.
Was tut der Schwanz in der Futter?